Welcome to This is Source, the podcast that invites you to explore the depths of your being and tap into your true potential. Join your co-hosts Mark Chabus and Agris Blaubuks as they take you on a journey within, sharing insights and stories about spirituality, empowerment, healing, and transcendence. This show is all about inspiring you to discover the power within yourself to create a life of purpose, joy, and fulfillment. So sit back, relax, and let's dive deep into the essence of who you are.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. There's something new unfolding, right? Um, this is Source podcast, the first episode. How do you feel about this?
I feel great. I'm excited. This has been, for me, a lifetime in the making, but especially the last 20 years of really being hyper-focused on trying to understand all of this, trying to understand the universe and spirituality and who I am and why I'm here and what I'm supposed to be doing. And I feel like in the past 5 weeks, that's become really clear to me. And then today is day one, so this podcast is like, and tomorrow's my birthday, but it kind of feels like today is my birthday because this is like the birth of something new and exciting. So I feel great.
We are recording this on March 20, right? So almost happy birthday, and happy birthday to me as well, in a sense, because I feel the same. It's like every day is like a new day, new transformation in something, right? So, or new version of ourselves. So this is how I feel. And I think today is also spring equinox, or if I pronounce it correctly. So it's actually Earth is turning into springtime today. So it's another day to celebrate, right? So it's lots of great things in the air. So excited. I feel the same. It's been coming along together like for so long time. We both of us, we are behind our 40s, right? So not much, but a little bit. So lots of experience, lots of wisdom out of it. And so we have to introduce ourselves, right? So Mark, tell about yourself. Tell like briefly. I'm sure we are going to talk so much more about our journeys, how we got here, but maybe a little bit, where are you coming from? And
Yeah. All right. So interestingly, we're ever evolving, always creating. So it's hard to give the right description to who I am, right? But I want to talk about where I am kind of right now, And so I will say that for work, I'm a life coach. I help people to have transformations in their life. I'm also an author. I wrote a book called Remembering Your Spirit, a story about healing the pain that I went through as a result of the tragedy of 9/11, when I lost my girlfriend. And the interesting thing is, so that happened in 2001, right? And my book is about my journey from 2001 until about 2007, and I'll call it the healing journey. It was how I got from a place of, feeling depressed and dealing with anxiety and panic attacks and just a breakdown of the physical body, just experiencing lots of gastrointestinal issues, problems with my stomach. And so the story is about my journey of losing Lynn and what I went through and kind of losing myself in the process, because when the building came down, it was also like I came crashing down too. And I had to rebuild myself, out of that rubble in a sense. And that's why I decided to write the story for two reasons. One, because it's a story about hopefully giving people hope that you can come from this place of darkness and depression and sadness and anxiety and emerge into a newer version of yourself where you feel happier and more content with who you are. And I went from stage one to that stage, and then I met my wife, and then we started a family. And that was an incredible journey. What I realized, fast forward, so that the book was published in 2009, I think. And what I realized was that in 2023, that I felt like who I expected to be at this stage of my life was not in alignment with the person I was being, right? So there were lots of things to be happy and grateful for, and lots of things that were working out in my life. But the true sense of myself, I feel like, wasn't in alignment with the person I was being every day. So I had to explore that. And I tried a lot of different avenues. I went to a lot of different people like trance mediums and intuitives, and was getting all these readings and trying to understand myself better. And that led me to Sheila Gillette, who channels Theo, and she's also the mentor for who Abraham Hicks channels. What's her name? Esther Hicks, right? So I got tied into that, and they were offering a mentorship program, and I signed up for it. There's so much more I could say that, but I'm trying to be as succinct as possible. That's what I signed up for, hoping to get those answers. But really what I signed up for was to work on my channeling abilities, because I was told when I was 21 that I had the ability to be a trance channel. And so I wanted to explore that on a deeper level. What I discovered in the process of that was that I needed to go through a process first before I could even talk about the logistics or the strategies for being an effective trance channel. I needed to heal myself. And the process that I was taught was something called soul integration, which I'm sure we'll explore in future podcasts. So I won't go too deep into that. But what I learned from this process of soul integration was that there were aspects of myself that had been in hiding. There were parts of myself that needed attention. They needed love. They needed me to go in there and do some healing work with them. And the result of me going through that process, which there was a little resistance to in the beginning, was that the real me emerged. And there's a lot of different ways to look at this, and there's a lot of different ways to explain it. But the way I look at it is this: I was hurt at different times in my life. So when you're a child, you go through, these different experiences. And when things don't go your way, when you feel neglected, when you feel rejected, or when you feel hurt, you put up walls around yourself to protect yourself. For me, the process of soul integration was bringing down those walls. And when those walls came down, I had an opportunity to integrate all of those aspects of myself that were hiding behind those walls. So reintegrate them into my life. And then the real me emerged as a process. So in a really short amount of time, I feel like I'm finally experiencing the person I was meant to be, the person that I feel is really the true version of me. And that's not that there's no period at the end of that sentence, because I think the real version of me is a creator, ever evolving, ever growing. So I'm going to continue. The story will continue from here. But the reason I bring that up is because from 2001 to 2007, 2008, I healed from the trauma of 9/11. And what I learned in my newest venture with the program that you and I met in, the mentorship program, was that now it was time for me to heal everything that happened before me. So who I am today is someone that comes forward to tell my story in a lot more detail. That's why we had to turn it into a podcast so that we could have more opportunities to generate these conversations. But hopefully to inspire other people that they can experience what I am currently going through, which is a sense of freedom like I've never experienced in my life. So I'm excited to have this opportunity. You and I, again, met in this program, and we have these really long conversations, two guys from two ends of the world that have come together, like-minded, but with the same mission. And that's to share what happened to us, what we went through, and offer the things that we learned along the way with other people. So I hope that answers your question. But that's what I got. So I'll turn the microphone over to you.
Yeah. So I guess I have to introduce myself, right? So obviously, as you mentioned before, I'm coming from other side of the world. So right now we both are US based, right? One East, one West Coast.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm originally from Latvia, and place where lots of things happens in history, because yeah, I felt like Latvia is always in the middle of all Europe things, what's going on, right? So, and it's a small country on the shore of the Baltic Sea, and obviously, when I came to this life incarnation, I came to Soviet Union and experienced a little bit of Soviet Union, and for 11 years, not much, but still, you know, I when I look back at I saw how people can manifest freedom, how small country of nearly 2 million people can manifest freedom from huge Soviet Union. And we manifested it literally without almost any victims, right? We got some people lives taken away in this process of freedom, but there was amazing situations when we created the largest freedom chain where people from 3 Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, they all gathered together and created chains of people standing behind, and with the hands together, and creating like long line going through from the one side of the border till the other side of the border of the countries. And it was really freedom. People been manifesting how to become free from oppression of Soviet Union, so we can be ourselves, you know. And when I look back at this, that was such a high hope, like spirit was really, and this is what stays in my mind even as a child, right? I was like 10 something years old, but I remember standing in that line with other people you don't know even, but you felt that union, that sense of being united. And I think this is the time right now in this world where everyone globally has to stand again together and be awakened from this, what we see around, you know, that what we are afraid from. And that this time it's not standing in the line, but really go within, connect to yourself, and understanding within that we are actually connected all together in one source, you know, and we become the source. So that's a little bit where I'm coming from. Obviously, on my life journey, I was always felt like I have to accomplish something, going out where I am from, travel. And I can describe myself that I'm the person who sees the potential and talent in others. I really see all the best I can see in others, so it's like I meet people and it's like, oh my gosh, you can achieve this, you can do this. And I really encouraging everyone to be aware that all of us, we have that gift within. We are unique in that standpoint. If everyone on the earth would really look into themselves and understand why they came here, we would achieve amazing peace and happiness and gratefulness on this planet Earth. And I really think that this is where we are going. And this is what we are achieving with rising the frequencies coming from gratitude and love. And this is one of my missions as well, right? To spread the gratitude and love with this podcast and with you, Mark, together. And because this, like how we met, how we connected, it felt like it has to happen. So I'm really grateful to be here, and spread this love. And I think we have ability to look at everything from higher consciousness, from higher self, or from the source, as this podcast name is. This is source. So this is what we are going to do. So I'm really grateful, happy, and let's unfold, right? Let's awake together with everyone. So
yeah. So you came up with this is source. So do you want to share the meaning behind that to you?
yeah, I mean, the meaning is actually as as we explore ourselves more and more and going within. And I have to say that I had experiences where I became source, right? So within where I became universe and felt like I'm creator of everything. And I saw my life from that, we call it higher dimension, whatever we call it, right? From the source, from standing there and seeing that everything was perfect, even though me as a human being felt that I felt like it's been difficult sometimes, even betrayed, or of course many different experiences during the lifetime. But from looking from that divine position, everything felt so perfect. And this is where it comes, right? So I think it's important for humans to understand, for everyone to understand that this everything is perfect, even though it feels sometimes hard. And when the 9/11 right happened, I remember myself in Latvia. At that time, I was working in gas station, as a young kid, but I was like young, right, at that time. And but I remember that at that point, life stopped, and everyone was watching what's going on, and everyone felt that situation. Maybe somebody was celebrating, somebody was miserable and really going through the deepest, hardest, most darkness places, right? And but this is something what's being shown to us from the highest level, that this everything probably was necessary to happen, even though it's hard even to imagine, right?
Right. Yeah, I remember. So I'm sure in the future I'll be able to go through more of the details, but just to your point, one of the things that I learned early on, I had gone to a medium. It was in November, and she had connected with Lynn, right? So Lynn was my girlfriend who was working on the 101st floor of the World Trade Center. She was working for Cantor Fitzgerald. And when I had gone to the medium, and that's a great story that I look forward to sharing one day, but um, she said to me, and this was a message that came from Lynn, okay? And she said, when I crossed over, I felt no pain. So from that moment in time where she was about to die to the moment till she crossed over, left her physical body, she said she felt no pain. She looked everywhere she looked, she saw angels. And she said she felt the best she ever felt in her entire life. It was like a feeling of euphoria. And she said there was no pain for me. And she said to me, the pain was left for you. The pain was meant for you. And, I was 22 years old at the time. And I was like, what the hell kind of a thing is that to say to somebody? Like that just seemed like the craziest thing. Like, what did I do to deserve feeling this, this pain? That just didn't make any sense to me. I didn't think I did anything to deserve that. And what I learned over the course of, the next 7 years, and then learned even more intimately over the next 20 something years, and has really impacted me in the past couple of months, has been that pain, as painful as there was beauty in that pain, and there was understanding in that pain, and it became the impetus for that journey within. It's the reason I tried everything out there to fix myself. When I went through all the things I went through as a result of that building coming down, nothing was working. And it became the impetus for me to go inside. There was the only other place to go. And it was in that journey inside, that inner exploration, that has caused my life to be the way that it is right now. So I do have a question for you based on what you said. And that is, do you think it's possible for people to experience, their life right now is, they're not happy. Let's just say they're not happy, and they're suffering in whatever way, for whatever reason. And then you talk about this experience you had where you had, and I'll just say it's a mystical experience, right? Where you were able to access all that is, right? And you realize that you are the creator, and that everything is perfectly designed, and that everything is beautiful and wonderful and perfect. How does one, in your opinion, go from that place of suffering and pain to a place of experiencing that they are the one that created it all, and how beautiful it all is?
I think first of all, we just have to be open, right? Open to receive, the first of all,
Mhm.
to not close ourselves to all those possibilities and experiences, and just to stay open and say to our higher self and our guides and mentors or angels that I'm open to receive. I am divine being. I am coming from the source. So I love to receive. So, and I think that that's the first step. And the second step is really to start to connect with more people who actually experiencing this, who are in higher frequencies, who vibrating their energy in those frequencies. And if you don't know how to do it, come listen to our podcast, listen to other podcasts who talks about raising those frequencies, because I think it's everything starts from gratitude and love, right? That's people said, oh, doesn't exist unconditional love, but it does. Once you connect to the source, you understand that everything is unconditional love, right? And it just shows that that exists here and now. We are not separated from that. We actually are living our most amazing lifetime right now and right here, and just explore your highest potential, connect to this energy source, because it's available, and this is what I came here to do. Once I connected, and obviously on the TO mentorship program, right? So we get encouraged to connect, right? To connect to our energy source, and to understand where we are coming from, what we're supposed to do. And this is what I discovered about myself, that I came here to mentor, to show the way how to regain this strength and see that potential. So that's why I see in others this potentials. Like people can come, and I created, as you know, this manifesting product, or very personalized thing, where actually with tools I learned during this course of, I don't know, 20 years, with numerology, astrology, human design, and everything, I put together their divine essence for people. So, and they can actually, oh, this is me. Wow. Okay, let me listen to this and become this. So that's what is my suggestion, But again, I think it's also important for them really to look into them and heal themselves as well, which is probably as well like step number one, or maybe it's synchronicity to do, And I think this is what you are, somebody who came here to heal, right? To heal wounds. And that's my question, like how people can look into themselves and do it, and tell, maybe, I think that's your purpose, right? You came here to do it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And for those that aren't familiar with what Agris is talking about, he does this really cool I am manifestation. And so he takes your birth details, and through all his expertise, understanding of astrology and numerology, and comes up with like a summary, I'm going to call it, of all your aspects, traits, characteristics, and your mission. It's all kind of wrapped up in there. And I found it to be, it resonated with me. It really did resonate with me. And the interesting part about it was not only the things that you said that, like, I've been told 1,000 times by like other people, but it's also the stuff that hasn't been said that was in there, but I knew it was true. And it was like, oh, that felt really good, because I trusted you as the source of that. So I knew it was like, this was something that I can give credence towards. But I was like, yeah, those other aspects are me as well, and I haven't had a chance to manifest those aspects of me yet. And that is really exciting to me. That feels, but I also think, not but and I also think that, as powerful the tool as that is, it has to be in alignment with your belief system. And if somebody tells you you're a healer, you're going to be a leader, you're going to be an uplifter of spirits, if you don't see that in yourself, you will never fully become that. And then, so we need a process to get to that place of believing, right? And I think that's through forgiveness and healing those parts of us that have been in hiding for most of our life since childhood, right? And once we allow ourselves to go through that process, then our beliefs change. And then once our beliefs change, it's easier for us to accept, oh, well, maybe these things could be true about me, and then talking about raising the vibrational frequency, that might be a familiar term for some people listening, but for some people, it might be the first time they've ever heard that. And so they might say, like, well, what are you talking about? It sounds kind of weird and scary to raise your vibrational frequency, Um, and we'll get into that in more detail. But I want to say it like this. I've heard that one of the fastest ways that you can be happier is to laugh, right? And and that's something that we can all do, right? Like it's not that hard if you allow yourself the opportunity to engage with something that's going to make you laugh, you're going to laugh. And what's amazing is that the other day I was watching some video and it was hilarious. And every time I watched it, it was funnier. It was like, and I felt, and it was so funny. Like, I lost control of my body and I like fell to the ground and I couldn't breathe and I had tears coming down my eyes. And the people that were with me that were watching it, they were finding it funnier because of my reaction. And we were all just like laughing so hard. It was just, and we were like, let's just watch it again. We wanted to feel that feeling again. Let's watch it one more time. And we were laughing. And to me, I will say that we were raising our vibrational frequency, and that's, to me, that's like an example of how you can feel what it feels like to raise your vibrational frequency. And the crazy thing was, when I walked away from it, I have lots of plans for things that I want to do this year, and when I walked away from the video, I had raised my vibrational frequency to a point where all the doubt in my mind went away. And instead of saying, can I do this? I felt, of course I could do this. And it all started from me just laughing for like a good 10 or 15 minutes. So that's why, it's exciting because these are like tangible things that we can do, and we'll be sharing these processes and strategies, and you'll actually feel how it's changing your life. And then you'll get to experience those other parts of the I am manifestation that you believe could be a part of your life, but you didn't really see how it could be a part of your life. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, this is great example. I remember myself as well, those moments when you just laugh out. I don't want to say what, but you just laugh it out. You crank, right? so so funny and but every day I see this in my little child, is nearly 2 years old, and how he becomes excited about any new thing, or just car pass it on the street, and he's like, wow, yeah, amazing. And this is like, that's the source. That's the source. That's the highest frequency. This is how we enjoy. This is what really rise our frequencies, and I'm talking about this being grateful about things, and another day I walked with my son yesterday in the morning. It was one of the oldest son. I have two sons, one 2 years old and one nearly 12. And yesterday was Sunday, and I was like, woke up early, and my son woke up. It's like, oh, let's go for the walk. And what is amazing time to connect, with your son, or it could be your wife or friend, whoever, just let's go for a walk, and during the walk, you listen to birds, like celebrating another day, right? It's just the bird. And my son asked the question, oh, what do you think? The birds, are they like a spice, sent from, I don't know, from the government or somebody who they sit on electricity, those wires, and just connecting to the electricity and charging and spying on us? Or, it's like, oh, what's the interesting theory you have, But I thought, I see this, that birds actually are like somebody where or higher self or spirit, everything actually connects with the birds, and they are telling us the truth. You can go and think about something inspirational and you see the bird flying in front of you, and you're like, that's confirmation. I see the birds and nature like a confirmation what's happening within, and it's laying outside. So those are kind of those things that you just are aware on, paying attention, connected to the nature, connected to meaningful conversations with your loved ones. This is everything, right? Raising your frequency. That's how I see also this, be grateful to go for the walk. And again, so many ways of doing it. And I'm sure we are going to dive into this in many other podcasts, and we will bring friends, right? We are going to bring friends from our lives. We met during our lives, and we will see what they have to share with us. So I think it's going to be really exciting podcast episodes, and so much to unfold, and I'll get awakened with all together.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's an experiential process, right? So it's, the one thing that excites me the most about this, and I know we're probably wrapping up, but is the fact that, I realized recently this is stuff that I've been studying for over 20 years by myself, like when I lived with my parents in the basement of my parents' house, and in the nooks and crannies of my life, always with a book or watching a video, and just trying to understand and trying to remember. I think that's why it was always so exciting to me, because it was like some part of me was waking up every time I exposed myself to new information. And it's when you and I connected, it was like, oh wow, like I can learn so much from you and you can learn so much from me. And the conversations that we can have back and forth can generate new questions, and our attempt to explain what we have learned in books and in videos and workshops and things like that, we have a chance to now talk about it. And I think that when you are put in a position where somebody asks you to explain something, you have an opportunity to see if you really fully understand it, And also, when you sit across from someone and you have the ability to ask them questions, you now have this gift of being able to like understand things from a new vantage point. And so it's just like, it just keeps adding and adding. So I think when the birth of this concept for a podcast came to be, it was like, yes, this is the perfect next step, because now we have this opportunity to like, I can take my world and everything I've learned and think I understand, and you can take your world and everything you've learned and think you understand, and we can put it together and try to make sense out of it. And then we can bring other people and bring that into the mix. And hopefully, as these conversations transpire, people that are listening, it will generate either, oh yes, I've had that feeling too, or oh, I never thought about it like that. And so it's like we're all going to get something from this process. So that's, I think, the most exciting part about it.
Yeah, I think we have to share. I think we still have like 5 to 10 minutes. It's always, that's the beauty of podcasts. We can cut whenever we want, right? So I think it would be great for us to share that experience from previous lives. Actually, we had, like maybe people like, oh, what's previous life? Like I think we really come from understanding that we live many, many lives, right? Not only on Earth as a souls, but on many, many other planets. But let's get to this Earth experience, right? I think it was so amazing when you told, and I think we didn't share it before, that when you start to tell your experience from your previous life, which you remember, where you spent time in the cave,
Yeah.
right? To really to gain that wisdom within, to maybe you can share a little bit more, because that was your experience, your life. So it's I think, and then I can share my, which is like, wow, such a synchronicity, right, in a sense, right? So it just, maybe you can share a little bit that
Yeah,
experience.
I'll actually share two significant past life remembrances that I have, and one includes the relationship with my wife. So um, what I learned was that the two of us were came together in an arranged marriage in a past life. I never actually told you the story yet, Agris, so you'll
No,
appreciate
no, amazing.
we were basically forced together, right? So it was an arranged marriage by our parents, and we neither of us were happy about the situation, and we did not really care for each other. And against our will, we were put into this marriage, and we just had to figure out how to make the best out of a situation that we were forced into. And we did. Over the course of our lifetime, we grew and we evolved and we became more compassionate towards each other. We became more loving towards each other. And by the end of our lives together in that life, we decided that we were going to come back and that we were going to start over, and we would start our next life from where we ended in that life. So we wouldn't have to go through all those trials again, an entire lifetime of trials, in order to get to that place where we felt really connected and really loving towards each other, and we would build from there. So when I met Kate, this was, obviously about 7 years after 9/11, and I had dated a few girls in between, but I felt I had gotten to a place in my life where I felt really ready. But I worked every weekend because I owned a catering company in New York City. And so I was like, well, I don't really go out. I'm always working. Where am I going to meet someone? So I decided that I was going to go on eHarmony, right? So that's like a dating site. You have to answer 1,000 questions, and then they match you up with someone that they think you'd be compatible with. So to make a long story short, and this is all in my book, by the way, but to make a long story short, she was the first person that they sent me. And so so we met on our first date, and it was like instant chemistry, right? And it did not take us long for us to be like in a full blown, love affair. And the funny thing was, like, friends and family were like, they're moving too fast, like they need to slow down. This is crazy. And we got a lot of resistance and clapping back from people that thought that they knew what was best for us. But we knew from that day that, this is it. We felt, the way Kate described it was, she said, when I saw you, it was like I felt like I was home. It was like an immediate feeling of like, I feel like I'm at home, you know. And that's what our life has been like. Every couple, every marriage has ups and downs, challenges, and we trigger each other. And now I've learned what that's all about. But it has been an incredible relationship, and we have created a lot of great things from that. So okay, so what's the learning lesson? Because there's a learning lesson in everything, right? What's the learning lesson that I got from that? As a coach, right? As someone who is, a healer, number one, meaning if people are in pain, I want them to find a way to heal their suffering. And as a coach, someone that listens to what people are going through and offers strategy for themselves to get where they want to be ultimately, I realize that there's a lot of relationships where people are not getting along. That they're people come together for all different reasons, right? And there's always going to be some type of resistance or static in the relationship. And for me, no matter how bad things are, I have so much hope for them in their relationship because of what I've gone through in that past life. of knowing that we were put together in this relationship, but we weren't happy about it and we didn't like each other and there were a lot of issues, but we worked it out over the course of a lifetime. So when I meet someone, I don't care how bad things are going. If they want to make it work, there is a way to make it work. And so that lesson in a past life has helped me greatly in the work that I do today. Not necessarily in my own relationship, but just in the hope I have for every other relationship that comes before me. The other past life that
Wait.
yeah, go
Before we
ahead.
go to other one, can I give my comments? What I
Yes,
just
of course.
perceived from this, because this is my first time I'm listening to this,
Right.
and what I see,
Yeah.
what you learn, and not only you, obviously Kate too, right? So, so you said that in the previous life you've been arranged to be
Yeah.
together. So there was lots of resistance from you, both of you,
Right.
right? In this life, I like when you mentioned that you actually felt like you are continuing from the place which you already finished in the previous life, one of those
Right.
previous lives.
Yeah.
And you felt like, oh, that's just natural evolution. That's how we just keep going from this place and keep going. And for you, felt it's very natural. But you met resistance from outside. So, which is interesting that in previous life, the resistance came from you both, and other was like supportive. No, you have to be together. In this life, it's opposite, right? It's like a mirror. It's like in this life, you both like, no, this should happen like this. And we arranged to be together.
Right.
But you met resistance from outside. Guys, what you are doing, it's too early, blah, 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 So I see that's what you learn, resistance from both sides. So you complete the
Right.
journey in a sense, right? So
Right. And now you get to experience a different level. This is what you might call raising the vibrational frequency of the relationship, because now you get to experience love from a different vantage point, from a different frequency. And so we don't spend a lot of our time working out all of that resistance from the past, because it's already been worked out. And now we get to really allow like our relationship to evolve from a different place, and we experience love in an incredible way. It's like I said, we're always learning, right? So it's not like, I'm not going to say that I've reached the state of perfection in my relationship, because there's always aspects of us that we can love and heal and reintegrate into the soul. But it's definitely in a much higher place, I would say. And then there's a lot that comes with that. I love your point. I know that you're going to tie in the next thing that I'm going to say too, which was the other life that you and I have talked about before, and that was basically that. And this is a point that hopefully we'll be able to make in the future, is that you can get to a point where all that you need is within yourself. That everything you think you need out there, you can find within yourself. And that cannot happen unless you create a channel to the divine, right? So, spirit with a big S coming down into the physical body, right? And experiencing life through the body on the earth, right? And so
yeah.
you really don't need it. We think we need stuff from out there, but it's all starts up there, comes in us, and then we experience in the bottom and in the body. And in this past life, I made that discovery. I closed myself off from the world. I went into a cave. I found my connection to source or to divinity. And I experienced all that I ever wanted to experience. I felt complete. I felt happy, content, peaceful. I didn't feel like I needed anything out there in the world. It just, I didn't, I felt complete, right? So, but yet I had a visitor that kept coming to me and saying, you need to come out of the cave and you need to bring what you've experienced out into the world. You need to integrate that into the world. And I was offered many, many times. I had those visitations, and every single time I turned them down. I said, I'm not going. I'm happy here. I don't need anything out there. And this is where I want to be, connected to the divine, right here in my safe little cave. And that's where I lived and died. And then in this life, I'm experiencing the opposite of that. I'm experiencing, and you could say being forced. That was my choice, right? So that was my choice to say no. That was the free will part. Like, no, I don't want to go out there. So but this life, my contract was to come in and to experience that same exact experience of being connected to the divine and feeling whole and feeling complete, but out in the world, not going back into the cave, doing it out in the world and integrating that feeling of that connection and that high vibrational frequency state, but in the messiness and then the murk and the mire of life, living in a house with my wife and my 4 kids and my 2 dogs in the suburbs of like a regular kind of American, lifestyle, I guess you could say. And I struggled a lot. I struggled a lot with that, trying to figure out how to integrate those 2 things. By the way, I didn't really know this. I put this all together recently, right? But there was a lot of struggle and there was a lot of suffering. But in the most recent part of my life, it's become clear to me that it is completely possible. And so when you said before that you had this experience of being connected to the divine and having like almost instantaneous access to all the knowledge, right? Like what some people call the Akashic records, and having access to infinity amounts of knowledge and information, right? Intelligence. And you were having that experience in your neck of the world, right? In California. And I went through my process of healing and integrating, and I had my own experience here. And then we started talking to other people that were having their own experiences. And the beauty of this whole thing is that it didn't have to happen in a cave, that I could have it right here, right in the middle of the world with everything going on around me. And the same thing with you. And I think that was also another like reason why we decided to even create this podcast, because once you know what's possible and you experience new levels of understanding, new levels of awareness, and just experiences that bring you things that you've always wanted, you can't help but not want to share that with other people. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. It does. I think it's such a beauty of that. I bet you felt so many times trapped where you are in this lifetime, and you just wanted to go somewhere out, probably back to your cave alone, and work on this alone. But life didn't give you this chance. That there's your free will from your soul and spirit, that you will have to work on this in your environment where you are right now. So it's beauty, it's the same beauty as you explained at your previous life arrangement, and this continuation with your wife, and also this cave experience, right? So it takes me, I'll tell you and everyone the story about my previous, it's not previous, it's one of the past life regressions, right? And where I was totally paralyzed. I was a completely paralyzed person who actually has really, really good, like my mind was really in a good state, right? So I was operating, and I felt like I understand and everything, feeling in a sense of understanding and consciousness, and but I was paralyzed, right? So actually I was trapped into my cave, like trapped in that human body. And I had to work on all those meditations, frequencies, energy, everything, within, because I didn't have a chance even to go out. So that lead me to this life where I'm always going out, traveling the world, been living in different paths, life. Like I lived in Italy for some time. I lived in Dubai, in Turkey. Obviously, I'm from Latvia. Like I came here to USA a little bit more than 5 years ago, and I always was thinking that, oh, if I will go somewhere else, I'm going to find the truth. I'm going to find that answer to something. So I always felt that urge to go somewhere and to travel. Obviously, of course, I'm happy. I'm in healthy body. I can travel, run, and do all that stuff. And but what realization came that no matter where I am, everything is within. And that's the answer. The answer is that we can connect with our source within, no matter where we are. And people just trying to find the reasons outside, like if this place is not good, I'm going to travel somewhere else, or I will change environment and then everything is going to happen for me. Those are just beliefs, right? Those are beliefs which we most probably going to talk so much more in next episodes. And I think this was amazing introduction episode. I'm very happy for this one and many more to unfold. And it's like I'm open and ready to receive for those. And thank you so much, Mark, for this first episode. It's a first baby, like you see, the two of us can create baby too, and put this out in the world. And I'm very happy, and I'm looking forward to anything can come more, in this our conversations. That was my conclusion. What's your conclusion of this?
I'm grateful as well, and I look forward to the conversation continuing and evolving and growing, and it's going to be great. So thank you. I appreciate this, and to be continued.
Thank you for tuning into This Is Source. We hope that this conversation has sparked something within you and that you feel inspired to continue exploring your own journey of self-discovery. Remember, you are the source of your own transformation, and the possibilities for growth and expansion are infinite. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep shining your light and living your truth.